Welcome to episode 5 of the Ringo Report. My name is Brandon Ringo, and I'm a writer and I'm a heavy metal musician, and I also like to talk about heavy metal, and that's exactly what I'd like to do on this week's episode. In the Central Arkansas, there's a whole lot of crazy stuff coming up. There's been a lot of show announcements. There's been some new music dropping. There's some shows this week that are happening. And to start all that, I want to start off with the show announcements. So one of the big show announcements that happened last week that I want to go over is My Hands to War. They announced that they're going to do their record release show on Saturday, April 6th with Cord and Jocks at Vino's, and it's going to ticket price is going to include a pre-order for the record, so that whenever it gets made, you end up getting shipped a record. And so it's a very, very cool deal. You get to see a show, and you get something that you can like have and hold also, which is a very cool deal. Another big show that was announced last week, deathcore bands Spite and Body Snatcher are going to be coming to the hall alongside Throne and Kenosis, and that's going to be on Saturday, June 15th. Also, another big announcement that happened is Morbid Visions is going to be going on tour with Crowbar, which is very exciting for me because being from Louisiana, Crowbar is one of my favorite bands and stuff, and they're one of the reasons why I got into that type of music. And so to see one of my favorite Little Rock bands get to go do something like this is very, very exciting. Also, a huge announcement that came to me today, actually it got announced, is going to be Bangin' the Rock presents Kubla Khan is going to be playing at the Rev Room on Wednesday, May 15th with Harm's Way, Pain of Truth, and Justice for the Damned. Now, this show is really exciting because it's been quite a while since Harm's Way played at Bangin' on the Rock earlier this year, but like a lot of these, Kubla Khan hasn't been here in a while, so it's cool that they're coming back. And also that week's going to be huge because there's a show that's supposed to be happening the day before, which I haven't gotten any information on, but I feel like it's probably going to be announced soon. Also that week, Mutants of the Monsters is going to be happening, and Friday and Saturday in North Little Rock. And then in Cord, also Arkansas Death Fest is happening. So that's going to be a very, very, very busy week in Central Arkansas, especially if you like heavy metal. In addition to these big show announcements, there was some music that dropped also last week. One of the bands, Current Solace, who you can did a Crashcast episode recently, they just dropped their winter demo, and it's very, very heavy metalcore, and it's exactly what you expect if you've ever seen them live or kind of have an idea of what those dudes do. Like it's absolutely wonderful. It's 3 songs, and definitely worth your time. Another music an album I wanted to spotlight that's not maybe necessarily so heavy is Birds with Teeth. They've got members that are also in like Any Given Room and Ginger Giant and stuff like that, and so they've got kind of that roots in that dancey type of music, and that's exactly what you get when you listen to them. Their new single Shady Grove, it's definitely not heavy, but it's very, very dancey and very groovable and fun. And speaking of dancing and groovable and fun, Tiny Towns has finally got their vinyl version of Deadweight out for just for purchase at Full Moon Records. They've got the records in. I was looking at the videos on Instagram, and I'm so jealous. I absolutely have to get one of those because that album rules, and it's cool that Full Moon Records is able to help out local bands like that. Another thing, the next part is the show calendar, which this week the show calendar is going to be a little light because there's not quite as many things happening. If you happen to be watching this on Thursday, February 8th, Ballista is going to be playing at Vino's, I guess you would say tonight, with Soledad, Knife Wound, Zash, and Skull of the Americas. That show is going to be an absolute heater. Also in Little Rock on Saturday the 10th, Mothwind is going to be playing with Stressor and a band called King Laugh, which I'll get to in a second with more information on them. Also, there's going to be a show happening in Fort Smith. Now, it was previously canceled, but it's been revived. It's going to be Go for Gold, Chrono Wizard, Held Tight, Takes the Cake, and Max Lemaster happening at Cousins Music in Fort Smith, also on Saturday, February 10th. So if you live in that area, that show is going to be a great one to go to. Also, if you live in Northwest Arkansas, happening on Valentine's Day, it's going to be the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which features Crypta, Vor, The Weeping Gate, and Grand Inquisitor, which is I've talked about this show on the past episode. This is such a cool bill, and so it's definitely something to do, especially if you live in Northwest Arkansas, don't have anything to do on Valentine's Day. This is a great show. Also happening on Tuesday, the 13th of February, is Numb Chunks, the Storyline, Some Kind of Nightmare, and DJ Ike are going to be a part of the Valentine's Day dance at Vino's. And so that's definitely also another cool thing that's going to be happening. So earlier I mentioned there's going to be a show happening this weekend with a band called King Laugh. Now, this is their first show, and which is, the haven't gotten to hear any music or anything, but this band is definitely is worth doing my Arkansas band spotlight on this week because of its members alone. Specifically, Sammy Williams, who's someone that I know from North Louisiana. I've seen him perform very many times, a lot of times in like Future Boots and stuff. Also, Jason Tedford is going to be playing in this band, and Justin Collins. And it's basically the only information I've been given on the sound is that it's stoner rock, which is awesome. And I've seen Jason Tedford play in the band Iron Tongue before. They opened for Neurosis, and it was so cool. So I have no doubt that this band's going to be really special, and they're probably going to end up playing a lot of really cool shows. In an interview I did with Sammy, he was telling me about how basically the band formed because Justin recently moved back to Little Rock, and he and Jason lived close to each other. Sammy and Jason lived close to each other, and they had kind of talked about doing a project, and eventually King Laugh formed, and they've been working on it for the last year or so, trying to get it right, and they finally get to debut it. And so it's very exciting to see what they're going to come up with. Sammy said they've been working on a set, and they're going to start working on playing shows and getting some new songs written and possibly putting out an album. So go see them at Whitewater this weekend and come tell me what they sound like. That's all for this week's episode. But in the meantime, check out this week's Crashcast episode featuring local wrestler Sleazy E. He is very entertaining, and his stories are mind blowing, honestly. So yeah, check that out, and stay tuned for next week's episode of the Ringo Report. I have another new band spotlight. Actually, they're not a new band, but I have another spotlight. I'll be doing some more music, and also I'm sure some more crazy shows are going to be getting announced, so we'll be going through all that. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day. I'm Brandon Ringo. Go fuck yourself, little rock.